Ever wondered what would happen if a mouse tried to save the day? Today, we will be checking out a book that's a children's classic. It's the beginning of a very long-running series of novels written by the talented, late Brian Jacques. If you've heard the name, you likely know exactly which novel I will be exploring. I'm talking about Redwall. Let's check it out. Happy morrow, everyone! My name is Kit, and this is Staff Picks. I will be going over some of the books that I've either discovered over the years, ones that I only recently read, or maybe even will have you suggest for me to read. Let's have some fun with this and really kick our reading habit into high gear. To begin, let's hear what Mr. Jacques has to say for his own novel. Welcome to Mossflower Wood, where the gentle mice have gathered to celebrate a year of peace and abundance. All is well, until a sinister shadow falls across the ancient stone abbey of Redwall. And so begins the epic quest of a bumbling young apprentice, a courageous mouse who will rise up, fight back, and become a legend himself. Exciting stuff, right? If you want to read it before I give my 2 cents, I would suggest stopping now and potentially coming back at a later time so that you can experience it for yourself. For those of you that have stuck around, let's get into it. In the previous episode, episode 0, I have detailed the criteria I grade each book that I have read on. If you're confused at all with my scale, I would suggest watching that video first. Brian Jacques writes Redwall in a third-person omniscient perspective, often switching between characters in order to provide insight. We hear characters' thoughts, we know what some can't, and any suspense is built upon that knowledge. If I had to choose a reading level for this book, I would shelve it in the teen section. However, Sir Jacques has specified that it is a children's novel, and the reason behind it is a rather good one. If you're interested in that sort of thing, I would suggest giving his name a quick search and looking into it. Personally, I love reading into that kind of stuff. The Cliff Notes version is that Sir Jacques believed that children's books have a very bad habit of talking down to children, treating their intelligence as though it's lesser, like they can't understand deeper concepts like revenge, death, love. So he chose to not follow that formula. And so a lot of the books deal with very meaningful subject matter, which is why it has kind of an ambiguous placement, in my opinion. Redwall is an epic tale involving a diverse cast of common or nature-bound animals. Starring Matthias the mouse, it is a coming-of-age tale. The story of the second coming of a warrior, sworn to protect the peaceful abbey they call home. Battling off the evil and diabolical Clooney the Scourge, Matthias must become who he was always meant to be. It is beautifully written and very involving. If not for plans to review all of them, I would completely devour the series over the next month or so. Wait, I must. Development of characters is a little difficult to really get into. Some characters begin sounding like an important, reoccurring character, only to turn into a side character partway through the novel, and vice versa. In other places, the development can feel hollow. There are some characters with excellent development, don't get me wrong. It is sadly inconsistent. I would say the overall message is not particularly an original one, but it is important and very well conveyed. Be wise in your decisions, compassionate with your actions, and know that power does not make the man. What they do with their power does. Never judge a person's ability to defend themselves, their home, or their loved ones by what they do or who they are. You will be sorely mistaken if you do. Again, not the most subtle, but it definitely is a message that many people should hear. All in all, this is a really good book, and I've read it many times. The first time was actually with an audiobook, which, if you can find it, I cannot recommend enough. It's detailed, easily accessible, and features a cast of anthropomorphic animals. What more could a kid ask for? I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. If you happen to have the time and access to this book, it would be time well spent. As always, feel free to check your local library for a copy. You won't regret it if you did.